Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Biden Cancer Community Summit. I'm Jenny Lisk, and I'm calling in from my home in Redmond, Washington. I know we've got a lot of folks signed up today from all over the country, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, other places. So a great big welcome to everybody, and especially to those who are joining by replay later. I know some of you were not able to make it live. And will be joining us later, so thank you very much. As we get started here, I'd like for you to meet my family. Sorry, one second. There we go. A little bit of technology glitch this morning. This picture was taken just about 3 years ago. It was September of 2015. And this was taken after my husband was already ill. From the left, we have my daughter, Megan. She was 8 when this was taken, almost 9. And she's holding our dog, Daisy. And then my late husband, Dennis, he actually had glioblastoma, which is a very aggressive brain cancer, the same type that Senator John McCain just died of. And it's a really fast-growing cancer. He seemed to be fine, normal. And then one day he said he was feeling a little bit dizzy. And I started noticing some really subtle signs of confusion. And to make a very long story short, 2 weeks later, he was having brain surgery. He had 8 months of multiple surgeries, complications, a very difficult time for all of us, as well as for the family and the friends who were so helpful during that time. And then he did pass away in 2016. And then moving next to him, of course, is me, and I'm holding our cat, Pickles. And then my son on the end, and he was 11 in this picture. Here is a somewhat more updated picture. This was actually from last year's Christmas card, so the kids have grown. Since here, they're now 14 and almost 12, and you can see that we've added a puppy as well. So, why are we here today? Great question. The occasion is the Biden Cancer Summit, which is being hosted by the Biden Cancer Initiative, and it's taking place in Washington, D.C. All day long. They have panels, they have speakers, lots of interesting events and content and great work going on there. In fact, my phone has been buzzing all morning. A lot of tweets coming out of the group there. As Vice President Biden said when he kicked it off, that they want to bring together the patients, the providers, and really commit to making real changes for cancer patients and advance the science here. In fact, their mission overall is to double the rate of progress against cancer. And they like to say make 10 years worth of progress in the next 5 years. So I think it's a fantastic mission. And as Dr. Biden said this morning, she said, it's time that we say not one more mother, not one more grandfather, not one more son. So fantastic information and panels and discussions they have going on. I'd like to encourage you to check it out on their website. It's bidencancer.org/summit. They have a live video feed as well as recordings. So if you can't catch it today, you can try it this weekend or any other time. And there's a hashtag you can follow along on social media with the discussions. In addition to what's happening in DC, there are over 450 different community summits happening across the country, and some actually, I believe, are in other countries as well. I'm sitting up there in the top left corner. I'm one of the 6 or 7 community summits happening in Washington State. But of course, not all of you are in Washington State. So thank you for joining from where you are. A lot of these summits are being done by different groups, some of the major cancer centers, hospitals, doctors, organizations that are involved in all kinds of interesting ways. Are hosting their own summits and talking about their own progress, their own challenges and issues and actions. So it's really fantastic. And as part of this, actually, I'm very excited to announce that, and this just went up this morning. If you go over to the BidenCancer.org website, you can see they've listed 57 commitments that the different participants in today's summit have made. There are some really fascinating ones. I've only had a chance to look at a few, but for example, Airbnb and Lyft are both getting involved in trying to close gaps for people who need maybe places to stay if they have to travel for their treatments, and or from the perspective of Lyft, if people need rides to appointments, treatments, and things like that. So lots of fascinating things, including, excuse me, I'm thrilled to announce today that our new collaborative community called Take Action Against Cancer is one of these that's being highlighted by the Biden people. I'll talk, a little bit later as we go through this today about all the different actions. But I wanted to mention this here because the Biden Cancer Initiative really, one of their strengths is their platform and their ability to bring people together and to amplify the efforts of what all these people in different communities are doing. So having us involved with them is going to be fantastic and give us lots of ways to pull people in and get participants in what we're doing. So again, why are we here? So we're here for the Biden Summit, but to kind of drill down one level deeper in that, why specifically have I invited all of you guys who are cancer widows like myself to be involved in this? So there's actually a fascinating concept, and it's called post-traumatic growth. And some of you may be familiar with this group and also a book by the same title called Option B, which is by Sheryl Sandberg, who's one of the top executives at Facebook, and Adam Grant, who is a psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania. And this grew out of the death of Sheryl's husband, tragically, in 2015. Not cancer in her case, but a surprise heart attack. And as she was dealing with this, she pulled in Adam Grant and started to pick his brain about how, about the grieving process. And they ended up going on and forming this group, Option B, which has got a ton of great resources that I encourage you to check out if you haven't already. One of them is this video called Finding Meaning. I will be sending out all these links after today's call so that if you don't have a chance to write them down here, not to worry. I'll send out the links and you can go ahead and look at anything that might be interesting. But Adam talks in this video about this concept of post-traumatic growth. And I find this fascinating. He said that psychologists used to think that after some kind of a trauma or tragic event, that there were really two possibilities. That someone could be broken by it, as he said. They could end up with a PTSD, a depression, some kind of significant, really, challenges. Or the other possibilities that they thought was that people could bounce back and return to where they were before. And he said that as they've looked into this more, they realized that there's actually a third possibility, that it's possible for people to actually grow in unexpected ways, after some kind of traumatic event, which I find fascinating. And he goes on then to talk about one element of that, which is that if something terrible happens, and then if you can do good in that person's name or in memory of them, that it really becomes an extension of them and part of their legacy, which is, I think, really interesting and really important. And it's part of why we're all here today. And then Sheryl goes on in the video and talks about how she, of course, would want to go back and undo her husband's death if she could. And since she can't, she has concluded that, maybe there could be some kind of meaning or some kind of good coming out of this as a way forward for her and her family. So again, I encourage you to check out this video. It's only a couple minutes, but it's fascinating. I like to call this concept that Cheryl articulated there, turning grief into action. And I wanted to share with you guys, Cheryl and Adam have obviously done something really big and really public with Cheryl's grief experience. In my own family, we've done something on a much smaller scale. But as I see how good it's been for my daughter and for myself, actually, to work on this, I got excited about sharing this with you guys. One day after school, when she was about 10, about close to a year after my husband had died, we were just chatting, and she said, when I grow up, I want to help cure brain cancer. And I thought I'd draw her out a little bit, so I said, that's really great. What do you have in mind? Are you thinking of being a doctor, a nurse, a researcher? And she said, no. She said, I want to use my art skills to support the research that other people are doing. And I thought, wow, how cool is that she knows what her strengths and interests are. So we talked about it a little more, and I reminded her that she'd been looking for something to do at the St. Nicholas fair that her school had coming up. It was a Christmas craft fair. And I said, hey, you can make some Christmas cards. Actually, we kind of came up with that plan together. She could make some Christmas cards to sell to raise money and donate it to the research being done at the hospital where her dad was treated. So she ran off to her room. She came back with like half a dozen different designs and said, okay, Mom, I did the art. Now can you make these into cards so that I can sell them? And so then I had to figure out how to get them printed and how we were going to set up a booth sale and things like that. But in the end, she raised $500, which we donated to the research. And that really started the whole thing. But one of the things that she actually said somewhere along the way, she said, I want to give money for research because I don't want any other families to go through all the sad times like my family did. And I think that really speaks to what we're doing here and what we're talking about. But when I think about, even for myself as using this, this giving back as a grief recovery tool, this was all happening at a time where I was, my head was all over the place. I was having trouble focusing. And so to sit down and have to focus on how do I get these cards printed because my daughter wants to do this, and how do I get a website up? It was great for me and gave me something to focus on and feeling like I was supporting her in this. And we've gone on to, get more active on social media and try to get the word out. And we have been able to donate close to $5,000 now to the brain cancer research being done at Swedish Medical Center here in Seattle. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So as we talk a little more this morning about the new community, Take Action Against Cancer, what I thought we'd do is spend a little bit of time doing two things. First of all, talking about some different individual type actions that people might be interested in, brainstorm a little bit on this. And actually, I've asked a guest who I'll introduce in just a moment to talk about this. And then close out by talking about the 3 community actions that I've queued up that I would love for you all to be involved in. So now I would like to turn it over to Marissa Fayer, who's joining us from New York City. She is the CEO of Her Health EQ, which is an organization that helps foster health equity for women around the world. I'm thrilled that she's able to join us this morning. And Marissa, welcome.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks so much for having me. Hi, everybody. And, wanted to talk about individual ways that we could, that anybody can give back. And whether it's a child, whether it's a husband, whether it's a grandparent, whether it's anybody or friend, that can participate in some individual actions. These are things that are they're very easy, and there's more than we're ever going to talk about available, but I just wanted to kind of give some examples so that you can understand what's out there to kind of start, jogging your mind, whatever resonates with you. And so there's easy things that you can do. And, we can start from the bottom. It's write a check or give money. And the fact that Jenny's daughter wanted to just do something so that other people weren't in so much hurt and to help solve this. I mean, every dollar counts. And that's what everyone, sometimes forgets. And even though you can't make these very large donations, you're not donating a wing in a hospital, it doesn't matter. Everybody giving a little makes a big difference. The saying goes, light hands, make easy work, and many hands make easy work. So just give, just do whatever you possibly can. And that's the easiest. That's easy. The next one, again, still relatively easy, but it involves a little bit of work. So you can go on Facebook and participate in a donation. You can do an online donation. Amazon Smile, which donates just part of a very small amount of your purchase back to an organization that you select. It doesn't cost you anything. Amazon is doing this for free. Amazon wish lists. There are actually wish lists of cancer patients and survivors out there, and you can help them out by purchasing, and it gets sent directly to them. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to know them. It could just be a random act of kindness. As we go up this pyramid, we'll show you some examples. It's runs and it's walks, it's fundraisers, it's community events. You can set up planned giving. And this is, a little bit more not concrete, but, it's very planned. You can work with your financial advisor. You can, speak to your attorney, and you can plan giving that's either annually or upon your passing or their passing, or just something that's in your will. And it gives to an organization that you care about, that means something to you or your loved one. There's other things that are very hands-on. You can participate in boards. And, for me, I'm the CEO of a global nonprofit of which I founded. And I'm very, very fortunate. I have not been affected by cancer, not yet, unfortunately. And this did not come out of a cancer survivor story, but I'm in the medical device industry. I saw that there was a huge need, and there's equipment that can treat cancer, that can treat other diseases all around the world. And there's a lot of medical communities and, hospitals and also medical device manufacturers that quite honestly have this equipment and they throw it away. And there had to be, in my opinion, a better way. So I founded a nonprofit. I am the chairperson on the board right now. I'm also the CEO. And, we have other people on our board who are just there because they want to do something. They want to help. They want to move this mission forward. And on every other nonprofit and NGO board, there are people who want to move those missions forward. And it's a great way to give back in honor and create that legacy. Jenny, you want to just scroll through a few of them? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So listen, making a donation to a hospital that's doing research, you get immediate feedback. And this is one of the hospitals. This is Swedish in Seattle. And I just wanted to touch on the fact that it says that a survivor is alive because of what you gave. That's very personal, and it reaches your heart, and you know that people are doing this for you, for others that you love, and it's very timely, it's very quick, but it really makes an impact. And on the next one, I know that this is a quote from actually Jenny's husband's doctor, and I'm not going to read it, but it goes into saying that there's research that needs to be done, and there's cutting edge research typically at each cancer hospital, and they need help to perform this research. All of it's not funded solely by the government, so they need help, and they need our help to get to the cure. And it doesn't matter whoever gets there first. It's not a win. Everybody wins. Everybody who's affected by this, and it doesn't have to do anything with if it happens to be at Swedish or it happens to be in New York or it has to be in Florida. It doesn't matter. Everyone is researching something different, and whoever gets there first, the entire world will benefit from it. there's other things that you can do. You can run, you can walk, you can organize runs, you can walk, you can, you can hike. And so also here as part of the community, we're looking for some volunteers to put together some nationwide events. And Jenny's going to talk about some of the ways that, as a community, we're looking for everyone to start to engage and participate in this community. But just running and raising funds for that, or being there and supporting people who are running. I myself am not a runner, but I will support everybody who's running. Cycle for a cause or hike for a cause. You can organize these fundraisers. You can help give them water and whatever they need, and food, and you can organize a band to play upon their return. I mean, these are just little things that you can do to give back. And what it does, it creates a legacy for the person that you have lost. And it memorializes them. Jenny, you want to just go to the next view? And again, I was talking about, climb to fight cancer. These people are climbing all over the world. And it could be from Mount Hood, Kilimanjaro, Everest. I mean, to date, they've raised $8.3 million just by climbing, because it's something that they love to do. And they're raising the funds in order to support themselves, not to support themselves, but that money goes to cancer research. And it's just a really interesting and exciting organization. And the next one, so this is, on one-to-one. And not, some people want to do things in a group. Some people want to do things one-on-one, and you can support cancer patients one-on-one. You can go in and speak to them. You can go in and hold their hands. You can go in and, brighten up their day. You can do some artwork with them. You can just talk to them. People get very lonely when they're there. This also is really great for the family. The family's just oftentimes, they're there and they're exhausted. Ask to, but just get them a cup of coffee or sit down and talk to them about something different. Sometimes, you being there supports other people. And so you can support the patients, you can do whatever you want. You can also, moving to the next one, you can have like pets and therapy animals. And, it's a great way that brings a smile to people's faces. If you have a pet that's actually, really mild-mannered and could be trained in this, and you're willing to put the effort in, then just bring them in. We all know that dogs and cats and, don't they have like therapy pigs now? And, they bring a smile to people's face when they might not smile the entire day. And just imagine going through your entire day and not smiling once, not smiling at your children, or not smiling at, your pet, or smiling at the sunshine, or smiling at a funny commercial. Imagine that they aren't smiling, and the joy that you can bring to somebody's face by just bringing in an animal. And so, listen, there's a lot of people who don't necessarily want to be direct and speak to patients or speak to survivors, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Another way to give back is you can do indirect. You can be part of a committee. You can be part of a patient education review committee. There's many hospitals around the country, around the world that have this. And you can volunteer your time to setting up programs and advocacy and initiatives, et cetera, so that you can, give back in a very indirect way that makes a significant impact. And then, the last one that, we'll talk about very quickly has to do with advocacy. The Cancer Action Network is one of several organizations. They advocate for cancer care and volunteers and the staff, and they advocate for research and money that supports that research. And these are things that you can do very easily. You could write your senator a note. You could write your congressperson a note. You could advocate in Washington or in your state capital. You can do it in your local government as well. You can advocate at your local hospital. There's a lot of things that you can do. And, you're creating a legacy, as I keep saying, for the loved ones that you have lost. And that's really important. And it's taking action. And this action, it makes it less about you and what you're feeling about, and puts it more towards helping others. And, as a philanthropist and as a founder of a nonprofit, that's the passion that we look for. Money is great. And I will never, we'll never turn down money, and no nonprofit will turn down money. but we love people who want to do something and they want to give back and they want to, help the suffering of others and help improve the lives of other people. That's really important. And it's improving their lives, which then improves your life. And Jenny, I will send it back to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Marissa. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Oops, wait a second. I have lost my video, so let me just, if you'll bear with me 1 second, get the right screen back on. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to go through all those ideas. So very important. And I think that, I asked Marissa to talk a little bit about this today because I think it's one of the important elements in our community here to identify, to get people thinking, to throw examples out there. And somebody says, you know what, this one and that one are not for me, but I love this idea. I'm going to run with it. Or I could engage my kids in, climbing Mount Hood next year or whatever speaks to you. So there's
and it has to do, and I just want to jump in. It has to, these are some ideas to kind of spurn your thought process. And maybe you love art or you love music or whatever you happen to love, or your loved one loved. Use that in order to, create that memory, create that legacy, because it's about you, it's about them, but it's also about others. And so take that action that means something to you, and it's going to mean it's going to be completely different for every single person.
Exactly. And thank you for adding that. That's, and that reminds me, another example, a friend of mine lost a young daughter to cancer, and has gone on and founded a program with music and art therapy in children's hospitals. So lots and lots of ideas for how people can get involved. And so as part of our new community, we're going to be building out a set of resources, with lots of ideas. And I'd love to have a couple of volunteers who'd like to research some different ideas, pull some things together. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. We'd love to have your help. So moving on here to the community take actions, and I'm calling them take actions because obviously of the name of our group, Take Action Against Cancer. I wanted to announce 3 exciting projects for 2019. Actually getting started right away, not waiting until January. And these were highlighted, all 3 of these were highlighted on the Biden website this morning as one of the 57 actions that they highlighted for everybody. So number 1, Take Action Against Cancer Day. It just so happens that World Cancer Day is coming up in February 4th every year. So I am envisioning a day of service, kind of like some of you may have been involved in the United Way Day of Caring that takes place in workplaces sometimes. Organizing a series of events, online events too, and as well as in-person events. So we're targeting 5 locations for this year. I think we'll start with something that we can, something manageable, and then of course grow it by the next year and the year after. Could be lots of different things. I'm thinking maybe we'd organize something with art therapy for kids, and then the artwork is delivered to cancer patients to cheer up their hospital rooms, which, as I'm sure you guys know, can be quite boring and lacking in decor. Some kind of outreach events, service events, open to all of your creative ideas. And so I'll be looking to put together a working group who wants to help plan this and brainstorm, as well as, of course, lots of participants. And this actually, I think one of the things that's really cool about this, this will be a way for our allies to get involved. And who are allies? Well, that's all of our family and our friends who care about us, who want some way to help. And some of them maybe are looking for ways. So I think this will be a great opportunity to pull some of them in and give them a way to help and remember the ones that they lost as well. So number 1, Take Action Against Cancer, Day of Service. Number 2. So number 2 and number 3 are actually both books that I'm working on and would love your participation and help in. So what I'm envisioning is, you might call it like an easy pick up, easy put down kind of book with something like 100 different contributors with one story per page. And I'm thinking of queuing up maybe 3 or 4 or 5 different questions. Something about, what's the best advice you ever got, or something about, different aspects that us as cancer widows would have some advice, some perspective for the people who come after us, really. And so collecting the input from lots and lots of people, organizing them into a book, and then getting that out in the world to help the people like us who are sadly still going to be affected by cancer in the future. And then the third is a similar book, but by and for kids, teenagers and kids who have lost a parent to cancer, with inputs by them for their peers. And one of the reasons I'm really excited about both of these books, especially the one for kids, but both really, one of the things I'm hearing as I talk to people, in many cases, kids maybe don't know another family that looks like theirs. Nobody in their school or peer group has lost a parent, and maybe they feel alone in their experience. Some of the other kids don't know how to relate, and so I think that by putting together this as a resource for them, that it can be a great way to let them see that they're not alone. There are other kids who've had this terrible experience, and have them share some of their advice for these other kids. So that's the 3 actions. And as far as the next steps here, first of all, I'll be looking in the next few days. So I'm launching a new, like a private Facebook group, Take Action Against Cancer. And you all will be invited to participate and join. And this is where we'll communicate and plan and spread the word about this. And by the way, this is not open just to those who've participated today. As we go forward, we'll be recruiting more and more people. We'll need lots of people involved. As Marissa said earlier, many hands make light work. So if we have a great active group of people here, I think we can really do a lot of good in the world. And this might be a good time to mention, I've had some fantastic conversations lately with some people who are interested in partnering with us to help get the word out. Some people who have some pretty good visibility and, have maybe a lot of ability to help us spread the word and recruit participants and so forth. So I'm very excited about that. So please, if you know other people who are cancer widows, put them in touch with me, send them this replay. Somehow, if you connect them here, that would be fantastic. I'm also going to be sending out a survey sometime in the next few days. I'd like to get to know who's here, what people's interests are, what they might be interested in helping with, where they're located, whether they have kids or not, and whether they'd like to be involved in one of these different initiatives. So be on the lookout for that. And I think I alluded to this, but I will be looking for participants in 3 working groups. One for organizing the Take Action Against Cancer Day of Service, and then one for each of the books. So these would be people who would be more involved in the planning, the execution, the people who are really excited about these projects and would like to get involved. And then, of course, there'll be many other people, if you would like to be involved, but maybe not quite as busy of a way, would like to have participants in all these activities as well. So keep that in mind. And then as far as, immediate next steps, today, the Biden summit is still going on in DC. Lots of fantastic content there, including especially there will be a cancer town hall tonight, 3 o'clock this afternoon, my time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. And at this bidencancer.org/summit, that's your way to access the live video from that event, as well as all the other events. I'm going to be tuning in for sure tonight. I submitted a question on behalf of all of us that I think I'm fascinated to hear what they have to say about this. The question that I submitted was, what is the number one way that people who are not cancer professionals can help in the fight against cancer? I'm thinking of all the patients, survivors, family, friends, loved ones who would like to make a difference. So I'm interested to hear what they have to say if they answer it. I know they got my question because they responded on social media. So that was exciting to see. So I'll be watching. I hope you do too. And of course, I will share right away on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, if they do answer my question. So please reach out. I've put some of my contact information here. Be on the lookout for the invitation to the Facebook group. My email address is here, as well as my Instagram and Twitter handles. So please, if you'd like to get involved, if you just would like to introduce yourself and say hello, please do reach out. Let me stop sharing here for a second and switch the screen back. Here we go. Okay, great. I wanted to be able to see you all. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Anyway, thank you all so very much for joining today. Great to see you here, and especially thank you to those who will be listening to the replay over the next couple of days or sometime in the future. If you join us next week or next month, welcome, and please do reach out. Thank you for joining, and have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.